So Tony, that happens after 40, eh?
40 went a long time ago, Bert.
Right, thank you so much. And yeah, thanks for stopping us there. Right, so this morning I want to talk about breakthrough growth for your business in 2022. And in the last couple of weeks, as I got back from Christmas break and getting started this year, I think a lot of my clients, a lot of people I speak to, and just said, you know, we need to get on with life. We need to get past this COVID thing, and we're ready to grow our business, and we're ready to take the next step. So I think there's a different sentiment now in 2022 versus 21 and 20, obviously. And people are saying, you know, it's time to grow. It's time to put this behind us. And hopefully, from what I'm going to share this morning with you, we're going to know and get to understand some of the things that you can do. And that's really why I'm presenting this, is really to reach out to business owners like you, to make sure that you perhaps get some new, fresh ideas on what to do, or perhaps just get reminded of some old stuff that you already knew, but that you're not doing at the moment. So welcome, and really nice to have you on board. So from my perspective, just to get to understand who you are and where you're from. Obviously, we know the registrations, but perhaps so everybody can have an idea. Just in the chat box, if you wouldn't mind, just type in your name and where you're from, and then your #1 business challenge, if you wouldn't mind. And then Tony can read that out to us as you type that in. So first of all, your name, where you're from, and your #1 business challenge right now. So Tony, as they get typed in there, and I see you are on mute, but if you could just perhaps read out what is being typed and put in the chat box.
Sure. Jay says, Jay that we both know well, growth. Jay from Johannesburg. Morning to Cobus Pretorius. I think there are 2 Cobuses. Anthony Drossel from Johannesburg. Welcome. He says, to grow my business. I think we all have that. Sean Lane from Cape Town, exponential growth. Wow, that's okay. Would be great. Linear growth would be a good start, but yes. Linda Becker from Mossel Bay says, finding builders. Deshaun Reddy from Johannesburg, growth. Johan Lars at Rand Refinery, implement a strategy in a changing world. Awesome. Corbett Pretorius from Woodmead, Joburg says, reactivating business through our people in the aftermath of the pandemic. Kobus Janssen van Rensburg from Lou Tichart, taking the next big step to attend. Tony Sham from Johannesburg says to re-establish my business post-COVID.
Okay, is that it?
That's it, yeah.
Thank you for that, and thank you for sharing. And I think we also get to understand perhaps a little bit about, you know, the current environment and the business challenges, and what we need to see and want to see as SMEs and entrepreneurs running our own businesses. So as we move on, then I want to just ask you if it's okay with you that I be your coach this morning. And I'm not just a presenter, I'm a coach, because a coach asks you questions and he gets you to do some exercises and perhaps start to think about your business in a different way. And I trust that that is why you're on board, and that's why you're here. So thank you for giving me that privilege today, and for spending the time with me. And really what I want to do today is to invest you know, today and the time spent with me in the simplest, fastest, and easiest ways to really help you grow your business, and specifically not just sales, but also profits. Look at how we can perhaps give you some tips on freeing up some of your time, and then creating an amazing team, because at the end of the day, we all know that the team is that's what gets our business to grow. That's what gets our business to really understand our customers. And when our customers are happy, they will come back and buy from us again. So good energy is contagious. And this is what I'd like to do today, is be positive about life and about business. So just to make you a little bit understand more who Action Coach is, it's a franchise that I bought into some 10 years ago now, 2012. We are the world's #1 business coaching firm. What does that mean? Well, we go around in almost 70 countries, and slightly more, I suppose, at the moment, about 72. And we've got thousands of coaching offices around the world where business coaches work with business owners using the sort of system, the 6-step system that I'm going to explain to you today in terms of growing their business and ensuring sustainability. We are privately owned, and our mission is really, our vision, sorry, is really to create world abundance through business re-education. So what we so often find is that a business owner starts his own job or own business just to have another job, and because of that, they just can't grow. So they run out of time, and only when you bring in a team of people and people to assist you will you really grow your business going forward. So every week we work with thousands of businesses around the world, and we talk business language to them, and we get them to act on mutually agreed action plans that they will go forward and implement in their business. So my background, 30 years with fast-moving consumer goods, spent some time with Clover SA, McCain Foods, and Stamford Sales, and currently in my 10th year with Action Coach Inspire. Let's talk about learning a little bit, and probably some of you are more qualified than me to talk about it, but if you look at this model in terms of the left and right brain, typically as accountants, as technical people, we know the maths, the logic, we can draw the processes, and we know the detail. And so often we forget the creative side of things, the feelings, the emotions, the bigger picture, and so on. And in our learning today, we want to make sure that we use both left and right brain and ensure that confusion that creates helps us grow, and perhaps we can ask different questions and get better answers in the process. So one of the most important coaching principles we talk and teach our clients is all about the point of power. And what we say is, you have a choice every morning when you get up. You can be powerless or you can be powerful. And if you're powerless, you typically blame other people, you have excuses, and you're in denial. Now, you might know some people like that. You might think, okay, but perhaps sometimes I am like that. So the question is, well, how do I need to change and what do I need to do? Because none of us want to be powerless. We want to be powerful. And for that, we need to take responsibility for our business, for the actions that need to take place, for whatever the team needs to deliver. We have to be accountable to somebody. Accountability is always to somebody. So is it myself? Is it my business partner? Is it a mentor? Is it a coach? Well, you need to make that choice. And I think then the other big important thing is I need to take ownership. If I don't own my business, how will I steer it? And who's going to steer it in any case? And where's it going to go? So responsibility, being accountable, and taking ownership brings you into a powerful place in this point of power model. And quite often I find that my clients put this up in their boardroom and they have discussions with their team. They go back to these principles. The other important thing is a mindset. So as a business owner, we want to continue to grow. So, how does our mindset allow us to grow, and what needs to change? Because sometimes I have a fixed mindset. In that fixed mindset, it talks about the failure of my abilities. So I actually fail because I don't have the ability to go any further. However, from a growth mindset, it talks about failure as an opportunity to grow. Okay, so if we see failures as an opportunity to grow, we can only get better and life will become easier. And we'll touch on that a little later again. So mindset of challenges help me grow, or, I'm not good at it, and that's just it. I'm not going to change, and life's not going to change. Well, as business owners, we know the fixed mindset. If we have one like that, well, we're going to learn some hard lessons, and probably have learned some hard lessons in life and in business. And we get frustrated, but in business, it's not about giving up. It's getting back on your feet. And typically, we want to make sure that we get the most out of learning, and therefore the concept of I know is great. And if you have that mindset this morning, and what I've already shown you, perhaps you know all about it. My question is, are you doing it? because that's really when things change, not when you know about it or when you put a plan together. So yes, you need to know these things, but then, perhaps a mindset of isn't that interesting could help you in terms of a growth mindset as well, as to open and be open for growth. Okay, so we also want to have some fun. And, being here this morning is hopefully not about learning, but learning with fun and learning with understanding. So here's an acronym we use quite often in Action Coach. BFO talks about the blinding flashes of the obvious. And if you think about that, those are the aha moments when you actually get to understand something that you've perhaps struggled with for a while, a year or two, or perhaps a month or two. And finally, you get an answer, and just by connecting the dots in the right way. So blinding flashes of the obvious, we'd like you to get lots of them this morning. So just quickly for our rules, thank you for putting your microphones off. But if you have a question at any point in time, raise your hand. Tony can facilitate and get the questions and go on board. So Tony, if there's any specific question at any point in time, please, you can stop me and we can try and answer the question. Right, so.
Yes, sure, Bert, yeah.
Okay, is there anything here? Not now, all right. Right, so let's just talk about vision and focus, because I think in any model and any business, we want to know where we're going. I met Jan and Christy when they were in their business for 29 years. They've grown the business. It was a business of around 8 million when we got started. We had to put obviously some systems in place to get the business to run properly, but the vision and focus really driving the business forward for the last 9 years has been to grow a greener environment. And with that, and with all the other work we did in the business has grown exponentially to a handsome turnover business, and now making a lot of money in running the business. So let's think about your business. Is the business driving you, or are you driving the business? And perhaps just type in the chat box, which one of these applies to you? Is it driving you, or are you driving it? I'll give you a minute or so to think about that. And Tony, any answers? You're welcome to call them
out. There's one, it's mine, business driving me.
Awesome.
Anthony says, I'm driving my business. Kobus
Well
Curious, I would like to believe that I'm driving the business. Johan says, both depending on the scenario.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, it's something that we need to think about. Is the things that are happening in the business driving my day? Is it just like I'm operational, working in the business all the time? Or can I step outside of the business, think about the strategy, come back with new plans, new ideas for service or products or whatever, and how does that work? And perhaps, can I go away now? So if I ask you this question, so if anybody of you, while signing off this morning from this session, could go away for 2 weeks and the business would still be there when you get back, is that when the business is driving you, or are you driving the business? Suggest that you think about that. And, the question is, how do you get the business to run without you? And that's, at the end of the day, what we believe in Action Coach is what everyone should do. So we know that most people, when they start their own business and, have the sexy thing called your own business, only ever create a job for themselves. And what does that mean? Well, it means that they have a salary that they pay themselves and they just stay over broke. So the business never makes enough money for them to really create value and to build some reserve fund or some profit fund, or even a couple of properties outside of the business that can one day act as your pension when you actually want to retire or get out of the business. So most people, as I say, start a business and they stay where they were when they actually got a salary. And one of the reasons we find for business failure and for people not getting what they want from their business and what they dreamed of is as important as this thing that it calls about burnout. What is the burnout side of of it? Well, it's when I get stuck in my business and I just work harder and harder, and the results really don't improve. And one understands from boxing that life is very similar to boxing, okay? Because defeat is not declared when you fail and you fall down, but it is actually declared when you refuse to rise up. What does that mean? Well, I see in business, we're going to face challenges, and not all of them we're going to be winning. But you can only get defeated if you don't get up again, and you don't start again, and you don't continue. So quite like this, this quote from Abdul Kalan, and I really believe that, this really is applicable to our life in business as business owners as well. Okay, so what is a successful business? We believe it's a commercial and profitable enterprise that can work without you. Okay, we just talked about driving the business, driving you, or you driving the business. The point is, can the business work without you right at the moment? And if it can't, what can be done to get that right? Because perhaps you want to now start traveling after COVID and do the things you ever wanted to do. So our model to get massive results starts with mastery. And what we do there is we help eliminate the chaos in the business. So we get to understand the numbers, we get to understand where we need to go, what the service delivery is, and so on in business. The next level is all about the niche level. So what makes us different, and why do people come and buy from us? And I know most of you will say to me, oh, we get referral business, and that's great, and you should. And that's probably the easiest type of marketing that you can get. If you are good at it, stay with it. But the question is, what else should you be doing to grow your business? Because we want predictable cash flow. And quite often I see that every business owner that I start talking to has the stress at month end. Now, can they pay the bills, and have they been paid? And do they have all the systems in place to do that? So once we've got the cash sorted out, and we know that we're not just selling on price, but we're selling on other aspects of our products and services, we now get to leverage the business through systems. We get some efficiency, and then we can actually bring in the right team and structure the business for growth. And it all ends up with synergy and results at the end of the day, when it's all about the personal growth of the owner and the growth of the business. Perhaps you want to franchise what you do, and you start building that franchise and adding branches. So you want a well-oiled machine before you start doing that, because otherwise you're going to just have double the chaos. So make sure that in your current business, you have the systems in place, you put the controls in place so that the business can run without you, and specifically that you can put a branch manager in place where needed. So we're looking for massive results from all of these things that we put together. So our 6 steps coaching system works basically on the 5 ways, which talks about lead generation, conversion, average sale, number of transactions, and profit margin. And then on the systemization side of the business, it's about putting systems in place around people and education, our technology and our finance systems and all those things, and perhaps delivery systems, making sure that our delivery and distribution is up to standard, and that it is something people refer other people to, and then making sure that our accounting and our testing and measuring is in place to ensure we reach our KPIs and our KPIs. Right, so at this point in time, perhaps a question. Is there anything that sort of stands out for you in terms of your business? What was your BFO up to now? Tony, I don't know if there's any comments or thoughts in the chat box at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Okay, so has anybody got a question that they'd like to answer, or a comment they'd like to make, perhaps some experience that you've had with what we've covered so far? Not today. All right, so then let's move on. Thank you for that. Right, so from mastery and taking our business to a control-specific place, what do we want to do? We want to make sure, first of all, that we have a commercial enterprise, a business that has systems that can work. Okay, and so often we find that if that's not happening, we have a lot of chaos in the business. And we know that chaos normally boils down to financial management issues in the business. We're not managing the people who owe us money. We're not getting them to pay us on time. Just yesterday, one of my clients told me about 3 clients that owe him over $1 million, and they didn't pay him over December and January. So the question is, what is the system you have in place to follow up on that type of stuff? Okay, and when you have the money in place, I suppose then it's all about understanding that you can get control. Okay, and what does that mean? Well, first of all, let's make sure that we got the financial management sorted, and then collect, track, save, and spend the money wisely that we bring into the business, because we only have so much gross profit that needs to pay for the cost of the business. So what are the 4 areas of mastery? First of all, where are you going? What does the end look like? And what does the business have to do for you one day? Then understanding your money matters. Very important that you get to know them, what your break even is and what your profit margin is. Time mastery and where you spend your time, because if you are going to be the hairdresser and the hairdresser salon and not the manager, guess what? You're going to earn the money of the hairdresser, not of the manager. And then delivery mastery, making sure you have standards in place so there's continuity and people will come back to you. So yes, destination is one of those things we work through in the beginning of our coaching sessions that we work with our clients. But I think just the most important thing is we don't want to define what we don't want. We want to define the future in terms of what we want. And once we've got that clarity and we take action, that will lead to success. You need a business plan. You need a marketing plan. You need things to hold your people accountable to, and making sure that you've got the results from the activities that you launch. So money mastery is about understanding the future, creating a budget. I know those of you who worked in corporate don't like budgets, but you know what? Budget is your financial plan, and that's what you can then measure yourself against and make sure that you hold yourself accountable to that. If you want to manage something, we know that you have to measure it. So what do you need to measure? And what are the KPIs and the standards that you need? Right, so once we have that in place, and the money mastery, looking at budgeting and reporting against it, understanding your numbers, and perhaps where the break even is and how you can maximize the profit, those are all things that gives you new insights into running a business. From a time perspective, still at that level of where do I spend my time in business? First of all, is it on the not important and not urgent stuff, or the urgent but not important stuff, or is it in the zone, where I'm doing the strategic stuff? I'm spending perhaps a day every 90 days. I'm looking where my business is going and what's happening and what I should change and redirect my team. So quite a lot of us don't spend enough time on the urgent and important, or not urgent and important stuff, the strategy and those things, how I want to grow my business. So time mastery is about looking at your team and making sure that they're productive and keep me productive. It's about looking and working with the team to understand and make them understand the urgency and timelines that are there in the business and the client wants, and then focusing on the timelines of high priority tasks and making sure that those things happen and quotes get delivered on time and so on. Right, so just another client result in terms of time. Paul Dahl from Mapa Cleaning, worked with him for a while, and it was all about getting the right people in his business, the right management structure, and making sure that the people in their management team performed, and where they didn't, how did we correct that and how could we change that? Right, so my question is, are you delivering consistently? Well, that's one of the most important things, is that people start to talk about you. Because if you have consistency, just think about McDonald's or KFC or any other franchise that you know. Typically, what you get in one branch of the franchise, you get everywhere else. It could be in Europe, it could be in South Africa, but typically that food offering is a specific food offering that is what it is. All right, so looking at niche, then the next level is about that commercial, profitable enterprise. Okay, so we want to make a profit. We're in here to make money. We're not here to do nothing. So I think that is really important as well. So a niche, then what do? We first of all look at the price competition issue, and we say we don't play that game, because if you talk price only, price is going to go down, and you're going to be driving price the whole time, and your client will only be talking about price. You really want to get to the value discussion. And the question is then, how do you define that? Well, we've got a USP and a guarantee questionnaire that we work through with our clients. It's a systemized process, and we come up with something that is truly unique and not just talking about great service or so. So what we want to do, if you think about this thing about price competition, is we want to move you from that commodity phase where everything is just about price to an innovative phase where you can actually charge a premium for your product, and actually that your clients and your prospects actually want your product and they're prepared to pay more for it. So how do you create that niche? Well, it is hard work. It's about understanding your product. It's a workshop we run and with you and your team. And also we look at, can we find a guarantee? So sometimes we struggle to find the USP, and the question is then, can you offer a guarantee to build that trust as well? Yeah, again, typically think about guarantees, but some of the artisans that you might have used, plumbers, electricians, handymen, they promise that they arrive on a time, and does that happen? And when they leave, what does it feel like, what they've done? So we talk about our marketing leverage, and yeah, I'd like to just talk to you about, what that really means. So we know that the chassis to build a business on is the same for every business. Now here's an example of two cars. The one is a VW Golf and the other one is an Audi R8. They have the same chassis. You decide when you start the production process, are you going to build an Audi or are you going to build a Volkswagen? And the same goes for your business. So everybody has the same chassis. They know what to do. The question is, are they doing it, and to what level of execution are they getting there? Right, so let's talk about the test and measure side then. So because if I don't test and measure my activities and what I'm doing and looking at the end result of finance, profit, and whatever that is, I'm not going to be able to change. And we said a little earlier that what gets measured gets managed. So our 5 ways of growing the business is focused on 3 things. It's about getting more customers, increasing the revenue from them, and then looking at what is the profit that I can make in the business. Well, those 3 things we all want more of, but that's not that easy because we can't just go and work on it. So what we need to do is apply the 5 ways formula, and this is really where it gets interesting. So let me show you. So first of all, we talk about the number of leads. Now that's your marketing activity. The 10 or so marketing strategies that you've implemented, are they delivering quality leads for your business that you sign and convert into clients? It might be that you have a lot of leads, but your sales process is not working. So therefore, the conversion rate is not where it should be. Well, if you're getting a 10% or so conversion rate at the moment, well, that's sort of standard what everybody gets. How do you get to 20 or 30%? And making sure that you spend time in front of the right customers that are on your target market. Yes, so we want more customers. Once we've got more customers, we want to make sure that they buy from us more often. So the number of transactions per annum, per period, we want to increase that and maximize that. And then also we want to make sure that the value of every transaction goes up so that we can sell the basket of goods that we've got. Or perhaps time to take a price increase. And again, just a warning here, I see that we're going into sort of inflationary territory at the moment. So please ensure that any inflationary cost pressures that you have in your business, you pass on to your clients and consumers. Because before you know it, you're going to be in a negative situation and making a loss. So you want to increase the revenue from more customers, buying more often and higher value. And then once you have the money, you don't want to spend it. You want to spend it wisely. So you want to manage that profit margin and make sure you get all those things done. Yeah, so I want more profit. At the end of the day, that means I have to grow my revenue and I have to grow my number of customers. And here's the 5 ways formula. So let's look at just some numbers. So let's say, in this case, a number of leads coming into our business is about 4,000. We then have a conversion rate of 25%. You agree that we're going to have 1,000 customers. Well, once we've got 1,000 customers and they buy from us twice in a given period and they spend 100 Rand per transaction, it's 1,000 times 2 times 100, we've got 200,000 revenue. And once one looks at that profit margin of 25%, we know that we're going to have 50,000 Rands worth of profit in this business. Okay, so typically what happens is when we start coaching in the business, we're going to look at those 5 ways. We're going to start developing strategies for this. And we can expect to see about a 10% increase in the number of leads. Once we've got that in place and we can grow the conversion rate by 10% or 2.5%, we get to 27.5. We now have 1,210 customers that we're going to work with. If they buy from us 2.2 times or 10% more, which means some of them start buying 3 times, obviously we have that in place. And then if we can increase the value of a transaction by upselling and creating a basket of goods, or even if it's just a price increase, perhaps, we're going to then grow the business to 292,820 Rand worth of revenue. Through some cost saving exercises and buying better, we can then increase the profit to 27.5, which gives us a handsome profit in the business. Right, so any questions around this? Does this make sense to you? All right, guys, let's move on. What does that mean? It means that our revenue grew by 46% and our profit is going to grow by 61% in this model that we've just had. So the question is, if you had 30,000 Rand more, or 61% in this case, of profit, would that be handsome, and what could you do with it? Well, there could be that you need to buy a new bakkie for the business or a car for yourself or whatever. Or it could be that you say, you know what, I need to take a break, and perhaps this profit could handsomely go towards a nice week away from the business and recharging. The question is, what could you do if we had and created those 300 hours additional per year, or 6 hours a week roughly, that you could work on your business and do some other things with? And I know business owners who regularly go out and they play golf on a Friday and they play golf league on a Saturday. And that's what they like to do. They're not in their business all the time. They enjoy things, and perhaps spend the time with the important people in your life that really matter for you. So here's the thing: your journey began with a dream. You built it and you grew your business to where it is now, and you owe it to yourself to take it to the next level. You've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of heartache in this business. It's given you ups and downs, and now, how do you take it to the next level? And sometimes perhaps that is about understanding what you can do and where you need some help. Warren Buffett said it's not necessary to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. We all know what his net worth is, and his companies and all those things. So over time, Warren has built this richness, the whole, if you just think about the wealthiest man in the world, well, he isn't at the moment, but he certainly is up there. So looking at leverage then, our third level or third step is about a profitable enterprise that then works. Want to make sure that we understand we need systems. Otherwise, if things are on your head, you're going to continue doing them. So you want to systemize your business. It's about saving yourself time, energy, and money. All right, well, that's not the best place to be, but how do you make sure that your systems work? How can you test them? And how can you make sure that new people coming into your business get exposed to the systems for training and induction, rather than sitting with Nelly and learning from Nelly? Right, so here are the 9 steps we believe are important in systemizing your business. So first, you understand what it is that makes us get up in the morning, looking at our mission statements, or what it is that we do to get to our vision. What are values in the business? Understand them clearly, because there are going to be issues around that in the team. We want to make sure that we have SMART goals that are specific, that are measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. And then we want to make sure that we know who's reporting to who and who is actually responsible for what. So that not everybody is in marketing, not everybody is in operations. We want to put in contracts in place so people understand what they get paid for and how much and how that works. The KPIs for those positions, what needs to happen, and how are we going to measure these people? The how-to system, so that they know how to do things, be that a sales script or a sales process or a marketing thing. The management systems, so how do we manage our business from day to day, so that we actually know, like in a dashboard, what's happening in my business and is it under control. So I want to look at my team. Okay, so now we have the structure for growth. And yeah, it's really important to understand that the business is set up so that it can work without me. Right. So as a coach, what we'll do is we'll help you build your team. So the owner, we know, selects the team and puts the team together and keeps them accountable, with or without a manager. That obviously just depends on the size of the business. But your team is then going to look after the customers. So you need to train them, you need to educate them, make sure that they do the things that you would have done as the business owner. Because at the end of the day, you want the business to look after you, the business owner, and deliver the results you get. So here's just another model of how this works, like a business flywheel. So once you get and look at point number 1 there, create the direction. So where are we going? You drive alignment in terms of the team and understand that they're all on board in terms of what you want to achieve from your business. You build that vitality, energy, and momentum into your business. Execute properly in the business and making sure that the quality is there. And then once you have that, you want to make sure that you produce extraordinary results for the business. Okay, so a business flywheel, once that gets going, it creates its own momentum. And then obviously we want to make sure that we have trust in the business and we all work together as a team and trust each other for doing what we need to do. So what are the keys to a winning team? According to us, it is strong leadership. So as the leader, you need to really take that leadership and make sure that you own it and not somebody else. You don't want the informal leaders to come up in your business. You want to be the formal leader. Common goals. You want to look at the rules of the game. The action plan that you have to make sure that you get there needs to be developed. You need to support risk-taking, 100% involvement and inclusion of your team. Yes, you might share different levels of information with different people, but everybody needs to be behind you in terms of the new vision for the business and where you're going. And then important is understand, the recruitment process. You want to bring on the right people in the bus and get them on the bus in the right seats. So winning teams know how to get the right people on the bus in the right seats. We talk about that, and quite often this is a discussion that we have as coaches with a business owner around the people in the team. Are they performing? Newcomers, and so on, and perhaps sometimes family members that are in the business that are problematic, and how do we work around that? 2 of our clients that used our recruitment system, that were very happy with it, Don and Jackson, in terms of recruiting people, we're happy with the system and the results they got. We know that recruitment could be an expensive exercise if outsourced, so we help business owners to put their own system together and make sure that it doesn't take a world of time for them. So now it's about synergy and duplication. So we want to make sure that we get the results and we have that freedom in our business. Okay, so what we do is we put a general manager in place, somebody to run the business for us, and we check in regularly. So as if the business is an autopilot, we look at the sales, we look at the numbers, we understand the client issues, or we actually go out and visit clients at times, but it's all about running the business and the business running so that you don't have to be there all the time. So Richard Branson said that once you know how to run one business, you can run any business, because the principles of running a business are still the same. Well, think about that. So now you've got the business running. Perhaps you want to start another business. Perhaps you want to take your business overseas. You want to do something else. Whatever that strategy is that you've got, questions, how do you do it? Jim Rohn said, never wish that your life were easier. Wish that you were better. Well, what happens if you are better? Life is going to be easier, isn't it? So work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Our CEO, Brad Sugar, says, where you'll be in 5 years will depend on the books you read, the people you associate with, and the actions you take. Now think of that. Today, perhaps you can put in there the videos you watch on YouTube, or the training sessions that you actually attend or whatever. But the question is, how do you get better? Well, you got to do some stuff. You're going to read different books. You're going to be on board. And I find that SME owners don't like reading. So perhaps it's best to go and watch some YouTube videos on the subject so you can learn. So we know that there are two directions you can go from today. You've learned some stuff, you're going to try and improve it in your business, put it in place, and that's awesome. And I'd like to keep connecting on with you. And if there's stuff that in the long run we can perhaps discuss or you need some advice on, welcome to call on me. On the other side, if you want massive results, I think it's about engaging somebody to help you on your business. It doesn't have to be a coach, it could be a mentor, it could be a friend, it could be somebody, but you need perhaps somebody to help you think about your business and where you're going, and perhaps point out some of your blind spots. So, what are the options? Well, let's look at it. Firstly, what is business coaching? Well, what it is an apprenticeship that you run in your business, where we grow your existing business so it more than pays for your investment in the customized business education you get and you keep forever. So by working with me as your business coach, you'll learn how to generate more cash flow, more profit, better teams, and more free time. And I've just taken you through a high-level approach on that. Remember that true wealth is the freedom to choose. And the question is, making money in business is great, but having time available and making sure your business runs without you could actually be worth a lot more and could actually be priceless at the end. So true wealth is the freedom to choose. I want to thank you for being here this morning. If you want to connect with me, and I'm going to offer you a free 1-hour business exploratory session, you can follow that link, bertweenink.com, get my business booming, or just go to my website and go to the Get Started button and just fill in a quick form. It takes about a minute and a half, text box form, or you can type in the chat box, yes, or you're welcome to scan the QR code. So it couldn't be easier to connect and say you'd like a free exploratory session. That's what the website looks like. So you go to Get Connected and it's all out there for you to complete. Right, so what about investing in your future? What are you doing today to grow yourself so that you can grow the business? As business leaders, we need to stay on top of things. So here's an option. It's our 90-day business planning session. It is, again, scheduled for the 16th of February in Irene. We have we go to the golf club there in Centurion Golf Estate. And we're going to be working on our businesses for a full day. You work on your business with other business owners in the room who work on their businesses. There's some great networking opportunities, and we keep on learning from each other about things that perhaps worked or didn't work in business. So that's one option. The other option in terms of investment would be our Action Club. It is a 12-month program. It's a 2.5-hour monthly session. We have 2 weeks after that session, we have an accountability call, and it's all about implementing the basics in your business and learning about it. Session 1 is a one-on-one session where you and I talk about where you want to take your business and how you grow it from there. We call it the Entrepreneurs Academy as well. Typically, what we cover is firstly setting your vision and where you are in business and where you want to be, generating your cash flow, because that's typically the most important thing apart from understanding where we're going. We apply the 5 ways and we start test and measure in the business. The third session is about time management, and we spoke about that briefly, but helping you to prioritize and make sure that you can do the things in your normal day. Generating cash flow, again, uniqueness and guarantee. So what are the marketing messages out there? Who's our ideal customer and so on? And then sales and conversion rate. So how do we improve that and how do we handle objections in our team or with customers and prospects? We also cover customer service, which is important for a referral strategy. We want to create raving fans in our business. We do team building. And again, yeah, it's about motivating and recruiting the right people and putting those keys to a winning team in place. Then the 5 ways in terms of our profitability of our business. How do we go about that? Systemizing the business and our 6 steps of that. And then lastly, our growth club, which you attend twice in this period as we run through. All right, so that's what we cover in our Action Club. And then obviously if bigger businesses who want to focus one-on-one on their business and where they're going, it is all about this personal stuff. So we get to talk to you. And again, once we meet for that exploratory session, we can perhaps go through it and see what best fits your business and where you are and your affordability. Tiger Woods said, no matter how tough you think you are, you can't do this on your own. So you need people along your side, people that can encourage you, that can inspire you, can talk to you about your blind spots, and perhaps that are not always nice, but they tell you the truth and what they see. One thing I can guarantee you, 12 months from today, you will arrive. And the real question is, are you going to be still working in your business, or can you sit back and relax and understand that the business is in control and running as you want it to? Brad Sugars, our CEO, says, you know you've made a good decision when it brings up either fear or excitement. Right, so think about it. If you want to make that investment, are you going to get the results? And how do things work? Well, talk to me and let's make sure that we get to connect with you. Again, just type yes in the chat box and we'll get back to you. Certainly connect with you in the next week. Make sure we get an appointment set up and we can talk to you about your business and your challenges to grow your business. Or, as we said, discuss the level of participation. What is it that you can afford now and you think you've got the time to invest in yourself and your business? But more importantly, make a decision. It doesn't have to be a coaching decision, but make a decision that you are going to change and that things are going to change in your business, and then go and act upon it. And get somebody to hold you accountable. From my perspective, love to get your feedback on the session. So if you wouldn't mind typing in the chat box, just briefly, did you get value and what was your major learning? So please share that with us. We'd really like to get that through. So it's time to get into action. And it's time that you go back in your business and start thinking about what you need to change and how you need to drive that. From my side, thank you. I really appreciate your time. We have a couple of minutes for questions. And Tony, I'm just not sure, is there anything that we have in the chat box yet?
Bert, no, I think the questions all really came earlier, but thank you very much. That was really most useful as always. People, I will be writing to you later on today, and I'll also be giving you a link to the recording if there's something that you want to catch up with later. If you want to take up Bert's free 1 hour, you can either put it in the chat, you can scan the QR code, go to the website, or when I write to you, you can just reply to that. Anthony Drossel says, excellent presentation, and he'll be making recommendations. Quibus Pretorius, thank you, good to think about. Madeleine van Wyk, thank you for your impartation and sharing your knowledge with us. You have answered the questions that I've had. Johan Lars, well presented, structured and practical. Thank you. So people, with that, we're going to end the session. Thank you so much for the investment that you've made in your time. And we trust that you got value from that, and that you will get value from any future interactions which you may have with Bert as time goes by. With that, thanks, Bert. Thanks, everyone. And
thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
I'll speak to you shortly during the course of the day. Thanks very much. Goodbye.